We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get sushi after Monday Night Raw?
Welcome to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, a show where a rotating cast of wrestling fans from around the world come and share and debate their opinions, with live comments from all of you shown throughout, as after all, fans are what makes wrestling so special. So sit back, grab a beverage, and enjoy the show. What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It's Thursday, January the 15th. Which, of course, you know what that means. It's a Dynamite review. Ignite the fuse. Yeah, here we go. We got it. Fernando Zayas, friend of the show with the ultimate tagline. It's time to light the fuse and ignite this Dynamite review. No doubt about it. I've got a sweet crew hanging with me. Let me introduce them to you. First and foremost, we do miss you, All Elite Mary. We understand. No worries. But we got an ample replacement. I think even Mary would be stoked about, because we have, it's a Thursday, but get your twos up for the Tuesday Night Delight all the way from the DMV, one day removed from hosting this very program. Shoddy, role reversal on this Thursday.
I know, right? You had to get back on your hosting bag. I respect it. Yeah, man. First and foremost, Mary, we miss you on these shows on Thursday. All Elite Mary. She gave me a personal call. She said, I need you, one half of the Young Bucks, to take over for me today. I wouldn't trust anybody else but you. And I got to really be in my bag today, because this episode is for Mary. So I'm wearing pink, Tiffany
No
Stratton
doubt
shirt,
about it.
but this is for Mary, all right?
I love it. I love it. No question. 1 second. Where in the world did sorry, I got messed around on the camera cut thing there for a second. Things have been shuffled around lately. Thanks a lot behind the scenes. Production is in shambles. I'm kidding. We're doing great today. But even better, I get to send this one to my hometown of Chicago. And I'm stoked about that, because Davis is back to break down some Dynamite. How have you been this week, my friend?
It's been an amazing week. We had a fun show last night with Dynamite. A lot of things to talk about. We got some new signings. We got some new threats to the world title. And to celebrate the Bucks, we got them right here. Super kick party all day today.
Absolutely. I love it. Super kick parties for the rest of the day. It's a great shirt. No doubt about it. We've also got, it's National Strawberry Ice Cream Day here. RW crew.
Is that Kendall Gray on the
RW? It might be, but I do think strawberry ice cream is one of the underrated of the ice creams. Although I don't like it when they do like the chunks of the real strawberries in there. They get too frozen. It's kind of gross.
I don't mind that. I kind of like the real. I'm a sorbet kind of guy, though, for real.
That's what I'm saying. I like it when they do like the strawberry soft serve, like in the Neapolitan.
You know what's crazy? I literally had a very similar conversation about this yesterday at work, because we're talking about milk. Like my coworker is a big like milkshake fan, and I was like, I don't know. Like for me, I don't like milkshakes, like, because when it melts and it becomes very like, I don't know, the consistency is just not for me. Like I'm an ice cream guy.
I couldn't agree more, because there's like a weird thing with milkshakes. There's really only like a 5-minute window where it's the perfect amount of melted. You can drink it through a straw, but it's not too melty. It tastes like milk. Like I see where you're like, if you can get a milkshake perfectly in that window of time, then yes. But it's really hard to time, I think, historically with milkshakes. And then the more you're adding toppings, we're getting closer to like a Dairy Queen Blizzard type of a situation. I agree, man. This is a complex thing. We could probably break this down the rest of the day if we had to. That's a tough one.
we some fat boys right now.
AEW definitely did. This is hilarious. Non-sponsored, but Logan Paul and KSI released Prime Protein milkshake. Protein shakes are different, man. That's just like powder stuff.
Do you want to drink anything that's Prime though? Don't they got like some like FDA regulations?
Yeah, like it keeps getting messed up.
Hey, it still tastes good. I don't care if it's regulated or not.
I'll never forget, before we start, I'll never forget, man, salute the soul who used to be a long time podcast. I remember one time Ben said he liked Prime on air. He's like, you might as well just bleach your colon.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It's one of those ridiculous comebacks in the history of the shows all time. All right, let's talk about the big free agency signings here with AEW, because man, did I enjoy this. It was one of the highlights of last night for me. I thought it was cool. There's obviously a factor at play here. We're pretty aware as wrestling fans, especially on this show, of the episode debuting on AMC tonight of TNA, and to sort of throw a little bit of shade in that direction with look who we signed one night before. Man, do I love competition in wrestling. I think it's so much fun. People can look at this however they like, but all four of the rascals, Wesley, Zach Wentz, Trey Miguel, Myron Reed, are all elite. We're going to see them on Wednesdays and Saturdays. We will not see them on AMC on Thursdays. Myron Reed and Leon Slater was booked. Whoops, not so fast, my friends. It became pretty apparent that match was not happening anymore last night on Dynamite. And it's so funny to me because I understand people going, oh, it's so petty and this, that, and the other. No, it's not. It's competition, and I love it. They're like, no, watch this. And if all the companies are working like that, firing on all cylinders, trying to be the best they can be, us as fans are going to get the best product. And I think that's what I enjoyed about this the most. On top of that, CMLL, who had one of their best years in the history of the organization last year, and multiple giant stars. We have 3 now on dual contracts, which is one of my favorite things I've seen in wrestling. We used to talk about the big cliche, the forbidden door, all of this stuff. Well, now you can have a dual contract and be in 2 promotions because of this situation. And not only that, you have 3 absolute stars. Mascara Dorado, young, talented, excellent, also proven himself in AEW matches already. Not just his work in CMLL. On top of that, you have Hechicero. Goes without saying, man, this guy is as traveled as anybody, a part of the Don Callis family already. While it seemed apparent he's been a part of AEW for quite some time, it's official now. That changes things. That makes a huge difference. And last but so not least, because I wanted to save this, signing Persephone is no joke. That is a massive get. As far as free agent female women's wrestlers in general, Persephone wasn't even considered a free agent before this because she signed to CMLL. Well, if she was, she'd be the best one available. By miles. She's so dang good. It's such a good get. 7 gigantic signings on a Wednesday night. Sean, I'm going to go to you first. Your thoughts. Do you have a favorite one that stood out the most to you? And did you like the way that it was delivered? Because I think AEW historically doesn't get enough credit for how well they deliver debuts.
Clark, I thought this was like the first day of the free agency, and the Jacksonville Jaguars just went buck wild and signed all the top people, because that's literally what Tony Khan did yesterday. Let me say this first and foremost, because I do want to touch a little bit of what you just said in regards to the optics a little bit. Talent-wise, AEW has absolutely been killing it last year in the free agent market. I thought every single talent that they picked up, from Josh Alexander to Speedball Mike Bailey to Kevin Knight to Tekla, was all a home run. Mina Shirakawa, they are still applying pressure. They went ahead and picked up arguably one of the most popular acts in TNA, one of the most talented acts in TNA, one of the most talented factions, tag teams, whatever you want to spin it to be, in the Rascals. And more importantly, you got 4 talented professional wrestlers on an individual standpoint. I think people forget Desmond Xavier Wesley is arguably one of the best North American champions in NXT history. He was one of the top guys in NXT in his tenure there. He's in AEW now. Trey Miguel, someone who really had to reinvent himself after Zach and Desmond left to go to NXT and really became a great singles competitor in TNA. He's in AEW. Zach Wentz, somebody who has gone through a lot of roller coaster trials and tribulations, killing the indies. He's there. And last but not least, Myron Reed, man. This guy is so damn talented. How he's never been given an opportunity to get a contract by a company blows my mind. But them as a unit is going to be very special. You talk about a trios division, they are super plug and play. You talk about the tag division, it's kind of like the New Day. You can kind of intertwine any of the four and put them in there. You want to talk about the singles division? Hey, why don't you put Wesley in for the TBS title? Why don't you put him for the international title? Like, there's so much duality with everything tied to him. I think this is an absolute home run pickup and a major loss for TNA. And this is just part of the game. You know, you talked about the whole aspect of, well, we're the number 2 promotion and we're just behind WWE, but we're going to hide behind it. Come outside, yo. Come outside. Bark up that tree. Talk to him. Don't start a fight you can't finish. I'm sorry. WWE is not even running y'all dry from your talent. AEW is. And there is no little, Joe Hendry, Jordan Grace tunnel that can get you there, Leon Slater. No. They're giving y'all the opportunity to get big money and be on TV. So that's, truth be told, it was brilliant how they allowed them to be there. One last thing before I'm done. I want to talk about, obviously, the 3 CMLL talent. This is why AEW is going to really, really be a primetime player this year when it comes to getting talent. Dual contracts. The factor that you can get international talent to potentially still stay in their home country, still wrestle in their home promotions, but also make more money, wrestle on TV, be in the States as well. Like, this is something that's going to really be so key for people in CMLL that are very talented, like you mentioned. One of the best promotions. I would put them above TNA personally last year. And then New Japan. We already see Takeshita doing it, but a Gabe Kidd, his contract's coming up. Like, Tony has such an incredible setup, and he is going to really, really put pressure on a lot of wrestling promotions next this year. Because I see the vision, and I really feel like AEW they're back, bro. Like, this feels like that early 2020s.
I'm fully with you. They're cool again. And I think that has changed. And to your point, I loved the way that you broke down the hiding behind WWE part. It was a little like going to the zoo, sticking your hands in the bear cage, and then being like, wait, no, but I'm friends with the zookeeper. Right? Like, but I'm friends with the zookeeper. No.
It don't work like that.
So it doesn't work like that. And Tony Khan deserves credit from a roster management standpoint. He's been under a microscope for 6+ years at this point. Every signing, every loss. I mean, think about this. WrestleMania 38 is coming up on 4 years ago. And the immediate conjecture, they lost Cody Rhodes. He's gone. It's been 4 years now. The amount of turnover, the amount of people that have been brought in, left, all of the above. Yes, there's been criticism from people that have left and whatnot, but he continues to provide opportunity for wrestlers of the caliber of not only the Rascals, but these 3 from CMLL as well. It's actually brilliant.
Can I interject for 1 second?
Go for it.
Comment, because this is a great comment. We're also getting the DMV's own Real Deal Zeta Steel, and she's going to be on Collision, and she cut an incredible promo last night. She was a WWE ID talent. She was on Evolve. She is actually part of the faction that got called up this last Tuesday. She decided, I want to wrestle there. I want to do what they're doing. So I'm telling you, man, people are really, really key on the WWE, and I get it. They are what the vision of professional wrestling is. Don't be surprised if people is just like it was in the early 2020s, where they'll be like, yo, I kind of like what AEW is doing. I kind of like the fun that they're having, and I like the opportunities in television. So, hey, man, let's see.
Oh, 100%. I'm with you. And Davis, this is where I now want to ask you, because we have these 7 signings. Is there one in particular that you think stands out? Also, the pun intended, what do you think the impact was of making announcements this big the day before the debut of Impact on AMC?
Well, first things first, congrats on all the superstars that got the wrestlers that got their contract. They deserve it. They all work hard. They all deserve the exposure. And that's what I want to lead to is exposure, because AEW wants to give as many stars exposure as possible, whether that's multi-men or women matches, gauntlets, battle royals, 18-hour pay-per-views, you name it. They want to get the stars the exposure, and sometimes wrestlers just want to wrestle and not collect the highest paycheck possible. And that's what I think may have played a little bit of a role in just wanting to wrestle with AEW. Wesley sticks out the most to me because he has shown so much capability to be so versatile out of all the four Rascals. But all of these signings, AEW's relationship with CMLL is what the fans wish TNA and WWE's relationship is, and the fact is it's not that. And CMLL had the greatest year they've had, and they didn't suffer at all because of the partnership with AEW. If anything, the people that benefited was the fans and the stars. And it's just so great that we all can enjoy wrestling. And that's what I love about this side of the fence with AEW is that, and I compare AEW to WWE because they're so different when I watch both of them. And one's steak, one's chicken. Sometimes I want some garlic parm wings. The other night I want a nice juicy filet mignon. Like it could go different ways. But with the Rascals, give me the Rascals and the Bucks, man. Give me the Rascals and the Bucks.
Right away, man. Even in the trios, as the amount of different things, singles runs, trios, tag team runs, all that you can do with the Rascals and AEW, and stylistically, you mentioned. I loved the analogy used on the chicken versus steak deal, right? Stylistically, the Rascals fit AEW as well as anywhere. Anybody that's watched them throughout their career knows that they can open up that full bag of tricks as soon as they walk through the doors at AEW. And I think it's so huge. You also brought up another great point about CMLL, and I find it interesting. And this is no knock on AAA because I've actually really enjoyed their partnership with WWE. But in spite of the initial steam, I'm wondering if the way we look at this 5 years from now, I'm not saying right this minute, I'm not saying next month or anything like that, but 5 years from now, when we look back, I'm wondering if the CMLL AEW partnership hasn't been slightly more effective than the partnership between WWE and AAA. I hate to admit that.
What's the main thing that everyone keeps talking about? It's like, well, WWE has helped them rise ticket sales and the product got more eyes to it. AAA is doing record-breaking doors throughout the entire of the last year, right? They had probably one of their most profits ever. And I'm speaking out of, knowing the exact number and whatnot, but yeah.
Well, but this is where it's interesting too, is CMLL without the production help on their side.
I meant CMLL, not AAA.
No, CMLL, when it comes to AEW, they're selling out every show in Mexico City. Selling out every show, every week.
I'm sorry, that is what I meant. Yeah, I didn't mean
no. Yeah, you flipped it too, which is fine. I understood what I actually, to be honest, I was about to say, like, I think you flipped them, like, don't. Yeah, it's really, really impressive. And that's no knock on AAA. I really do enjoy the product actually too. And I think the Undertaker's doing a good job booking wise, but the initial steam of buying AAA and putting eyeballs on it has sort of faded. Whereas the CMLL partnership has been mutually beneficial in a way to both companies when it comes to AEW and CMLL. I think that's the key.
I feel like for people in the States, it's easier to say that. They'll always lean towards AAA because they have an easier exposure to watch it. Because it's free on YouTube, truth be told. I think that's why we probably are all able to follow it and watch it. I'll watch it this weekend. I know they got a show on Saturday. But, I mean, this is not even me trying to compare those two entirely. I thoroughly enjoy CMLL's product a little bit more. I feel like they have better quality wrestling in a way for their actual roster. I feel like AAA – fair game also. They're owned by WWE. they have to use a lot of WWE wrestlers, right?
They do.
The Lucha Brothers, Dragon Lee, Americano, Dominic Mysterio.
It
Where,
can feel like diet WWE at times.
yeah, or it just feels like an excursion for guys who don't have a lot to do on the other shows, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But yeah,
100%. Let's keep it rolling though. By the way, I didn't even realize that topic got out of hand, man. That was we had to cover 7 signings. Come on, guys. Either way, everyone has their eyes on MJF's title, and I discussed this a bit earlier in the week. It was unfortunate in my eyes because Bandito was arguably the men's wrestler of the year last year. But at the same time, they sort of already set up built-in multiple rivalries with MJF that I'm pretty confident they're going to get to. Obviously, last night we saw with Kenny and Swerve and Hangman, everybody gunning for it. We'll get to that main event match later. It actually worked out better than I anticipated. But what I want to ask you, Shad, is do you have a particular order you want to see MJF wrestle these guys? Do you think it works out as a multi-person match? Do you think the rivalry lasts as like a fatal 4-way? Does he knock a couple out of the way? How does this all break down when it comes to Kenny Omega all the way back now? By the way, diverticulitis, monster shout out. Let's not forget this guy had a major, potentially career-ending health scare, and he's back and looks as good as he's ever looked.
Mm-hmm.
As well as Swerve and Hangman, who I think have earned their spots as basically potential pillars, even though I think that's a cliche. But of the 3, talk to me about it.
So obviously, I think the match out of all 3 of those guys that has my most interest is Kenny Omega. I feel like it's a nice, classic 2 guys that have been here for the long haul. Kenny kind of starting and being that main guy, obviously, out the gate, Mount Rushmore legend, and MJF kind of being younger, building his own repertoire, building his own stock. Like, I feel like it's one of those moments where it's like, yeah, we on the same hill now, Kenny, but I'm on top of the hill. I'm king of the hill. This is my, Triple B. I got this belt. And I feel like that should be the one where you really build it up to. And that would probably be the 3rd of the matchups. I don't know if it's going to go in the direction. I do feel like they might go to that earlier out of the 3, but I do like that they have all guys kind of surrounding it. And I like the fact that there's a lot of outside stuff happening between all these guys too. I truthfully, obviously Hangman, has a match this Saturday on Collision going against the Ops for the Trios title with Jet Speed. If they win, I don't mind that, obviously. I feel like that's something that could be different and beneficial where Hangman is using his stock and his popularity and the him being at the top of the card and building up 2 guys under his wing. And for Swerve, I wouldn't even mind if he would be that first initial opponent for MJF. And that's kind of who I think I would kind of go with first. I feel like a Swerve and MJF just initial feud would be something that could be very, very good. I feel like they have history with each other, backstage interactions, matches, the whole 9. But I feel like that could be the first initial one because I don't think Swerve needs to win the title now. But I do think MJF could benefit feuding with him as a first big-time opponent.
I absolutely love that shot. And to even expand upon that, I would go Swerve 1, then I would go with Hangman 2nd, and then Kenny 3rd. We've got a comment I want to read really quick here from DCX Warlord. He said, notice how MJF has been calling himself the Young Goat. There is someone who just signed to AEW who's known as the Young Goat, and that is the Young Goat, Myron Reed. I could see that as a possibility on a Dynamite, not a pay-per-view. On a Dynamite, I actually could totally see that happening. Now, once you get through this Murderer's Row, shout out 1927 Yankees, right? Once you get through Murderer's Row with Swerve, Hangman, and Kenny, it's got to be Ospreay. He has to be the one that saves the day. Yeah. I think that's what you're building towards.
Agreed.
Is Will and Max. I think that's the most logical one. Do you agree with that, Davis?
Yeah, I think all roads are leading to Ospreay and MJF in London.
I also think that's sort of the method to the madness as far as introducing the 3 big challengers. Maybe even has to go through Moxley too, and then it's Ospreay. If you really wanted to, then you sort of get the whole row.
I'll be completely honest with you. If MJF goes through a ladder of beating those 3 guys, and then you throw Moxley in the mix, you're talking about one of the greatest like AEW title reigns of all time, just off of people that he's beat. Like the fact that he just beat, like we're gonna talk about it at the end. We'll talk about that last. But the title defense that he had, that's the first, stepping stone that he's had. Like the dude is really, like I really think Tony is putting a lot of merit into this title reign and really trying to make MJF be wrestler of the year.
To your point, I think it's interesting. I think sometimes we forget timing is super important in wrestling. And the way that MJF sort of absence makes the heart grow fonder was a way. Now there's less of the conjecture about, is he going to leave? Is he going to stay?
Yeah.
That's sort of washed away.
It's gone.
And then you have him come back and win the title. Now he's really set to have a generational type title run, like you just mentioned, where it's like knock down every single domino along the way until you build the big good, maybe
man.
they can beat you.
Hate on him, bro. That boy good, man.
He's so dang good. It scares me to death how talented he actually is at times.
So good. We're talking about him twice on this show.
Yeah, seriously. Like he's basically the theme of the show. But let's move on to another important victory here, because I mean, look, we had it's technically the Cosmic Babes of Wrath, but we got Harley Cameron, Chris Statlander, and Willow Nightingale taking on the Triangle of Madness, Julia Hart, Sky Blue, and Tekla. Listen, Tekla might be the most underrated women's star in AEW. She has been unbelievable since she's been signed. She was outstanding in Blood and Guts all the way back, but that's more recent than we realize. It's just the calendar year that turned over. It's not really a whole year ago. It's only a few months, my friends. But at the end of the day, Tekla versus Chris Statlander not only is enticing, but I'm all over it. It's the women's title match I would book all day long, at least in my eyes. And for her to pick up the victory last night, I thought that was huge. Davis, I want to get your thoughts, because I thought for a trios tag match too, this was one of the more entertaining spots of the night for sure.
And I can't agree with you more about Tekla getting the title run or the title match. Not only do I think she'll get the title match, I think this group is going to be champions. The way that they were booked last night, I didn't really think too much into it while the match was happening. I'm like, okay, this, it's a pretty good, solid match. I just said, as soon as that match ended, though, I'm like, oh wow, this is actually a real threat. And sometimes you need those little shock factors going into AEW, especially earlier in the year. With you, obviously, their WrestleMania or their big event's going to be, later in the summer. But you need those shock factors early on, and I think this is a perfect storm for a shock factor for that group to just have all the titles, run it for a few months. I wouldn't be surprised if they run it into All In. To be honest, the way they looked last night, I got to go with an upset here. Later on down the road, maybe in Los Angeles, we'll see a title change.
Ooh, I would be all over that in LA. Yeah. That would actually, you know what? I hadn't considered, because I thought great challenger, but why wouldn't you? I also think Tekla's one big run away from being super over, because she really does do everything right. We've got a few comments I want to run through here before we get to the main event really quick, though. DCX Warlord, great friend of the show, but we aren't talking about Will Hobbs going to the Fed. No, we're not. No,
we don't know if that's confirmed or not.
It's not even confirmed, dude.
Yo,
it's just conjecture.
Before we get to it though, Tekla is my favorite in AEW out of everybody, bro. I love her ambiance. She is so damn cool, bro. She's such a badass, and I love her promo style. She's so old school 80s type of wrestler promo style.
I find it really, really interesting, and it's funny because I'm a huge Thunder Rosa fan, right? And obviously injuries really derailed what she's capable of at this stage, but she poured her heart and soul into it, and sort of but her role in the AEW women's locker room was so important. And they're very unique. Both are different, but with Rosa's health and schedule wise, the amount she's able to wrestle, Tekla, I feel like, is the only candidate I see on the roster that can sort of fill that void in her own way, if that makes sense. Because there was a lot of old school to Thunder Rosa too. It's a roundabout comparison,
For sure.
But
I see what you're saying.
I can see Tekla sort of filling that void. And I actually think down the road, she's a babyface.
She's going to get popular to a point where you're going to have to make her a babyface.
I think she's almost assuredly at some point a babyface.
She's got the charm and personality that's going to make people want to root for her, as well as just like I said, man, she walks like there's things in pro wrestling that she does that a lot of women on that roster don't do. That's the looking at the camera. That's how you move. That's everything, man. So
absolutely.
She's special.
We've got a great comment here from Christopher Leclerc. He said, give Tekla the AEW Women's World Championship and the Sisters of Sin the AEW Women's World Tag titles. I have no issue with that. I don't know if I would do it at the exact same time. But I think in this year, go ahead, Davis. That's what I was going to ask you.
I'll tell you what, Clark. If that match happens in LA, I'll fly to LA and we'll go together.
Well, we're going for sure. Oh, yeah, book it. I'm in. Fly to Orange County, though. It's easier to pick you up. I don't want to drive to LAX.
No, I don't like LAX.
We'll talk about that later. That's a post-show convo, but I'm in. All right, let's talk about the main event of last night, as well as our main event of this afternoon, evening, morning. Depends on where you are, geographically speaking, at this hour of the day. But Maxwell Jacob Friedman does retain the title against arguably the men's wrestler of the year last year, Bandito. This match was off the charts. I was a little critical about how we got there yesterday because of a segment we discussed earlier. There's just so many people gunning at Max. This is the brilliance of Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Not only did they have an unbelievable match, the match of the night, I thought in spades, not close, realistically speaking. Like it was the best match of the night. He beats him using Bryan Danielson's hold. Let's be honest. Yes, it's Gene LaBelle. Oh, we know what the LaBelle lock is, but
and Danielson was like,
that's the yes locks other places. And of course he does. Then he sits in the corner. And the brilliance here is he puts Bandito over. Despite the fact that MJF went over, he put Bandito over. He said he's a future champion. And then he did what Max does. And he did what Max does. He was like, oh, you thought I opened the cookie jar? Let me smash your fingers in it with the lid. That's exactly what Max did when he hit Bandito with the title. I loved every second of it because he made sense of something that I didn't necessarily understand made sense yesterday before the show happened. This guy is firing on all cylinders. We mentioned it earlier in the show. The match was awesome. Bandito was awesome. I want to know your thoughts. Brody King has the run-in. Is he going to run through Brody King somehow too, Davis? I mean, seriously, Max might knock down literally all of the... He might got a whole forest worth of trees by the time this runs over.
Yeah, I think Brody King's next. I think there's just so much gap between now and the next pay-per-view where you would want to do a Kenny Omega, Swerve, Page. I think those matches are going to be saved for the pay-per-views, but you give a match like Brody King this type of match, and this could be in Dynamite in a couple weeks, a month. MJF's going to go down as the history as the greatest AEW star of all time, just with how well he has grown. And it's something I called back a couple weeks ago when I was showing my significant other just older promos with him and Punk, and you could just see the growth from just watching those promos to now. And you could just tell he's just such a leader in the ring and just being so technical with calling the match and like without calling the match. And you can tell, and I'm excited for this reign. You also got, possibly Cope down the line. You have just so many different matches that can happen with MJF. If I had to take a pick right now, it's between MJF, Mox, and Ospreay for the wrestler of the year. I think it's just narrowed down to those three with the trajectory of like all three coming into this year. But MJF, star, and he's going to go down as the greatest, not champion, not male star of AEW in history.
I'm in 100% agreement. The biggest star made, and honestly, he deserves a lot of credit. I mean, think about this. We joke often, Shad can attest on Tuesday nights, I joke often about the Cody guys, Ricky Saints, his buddies, right? All the Cody buddies, I call them, right? Or my favorite is like, you remember the Banana Boys when like back in the day? I call the Cody guys the Bus Boys. You know what I mean? The Bus Boys, like Max was one when AEW first started. He shook that so fast. He's the only one that has. He completely shake. I'm sure they're still close in real life outside of kayfabe and all of that. He shook that so quick and made it about himself in the best way possible, though, not just in the selfish I'm a heel way. And that's where his brilliance lies. Bandito last night, you mentioned Cope. Man, if the other thing is, if we're going to get MJF with his level of mic skills wrestling often, he might be the only heel champ I've ever seen that can be a defending champ. He can be a fighting champion per se and defend the belt often and somehow still convince you that he's the scumbag and that he doesn't care and that it doesn't, right? He'll never brag about I'm ready to take on anybody or any of that. But if we see him wrestling on not just Saturday nights and Wednesday nights, Sunday nights, at pay-per-views and everything, and he's going to do this, he's going to main event Dynamites, that changes drastically the way that Wednesday night looks on TBS every week for the rest of the year. It drastically changes things. If you know those last 20 minutes or so, you're going to get MJF against a legitimate challenger in a serious match. Man, the sky is really the limit. I think we're almost just scratching the surface here. Shad, maybe I've gone too far when it comes to that. I do want to get your thoughts, obviously, because Bandito had a year of years. And I love Brody King's involvement in this, no doubt. I loved the crowd going crazy for Bandito as he was helped to his feet. I thought that was excellent. And then my other favorite part was Max faking the mask pull.
Oh, yeah.
Was so good because all I've ever thought, and he's done it to multiple luchadors, and he's been, that's part of his gimmick. It's part of his MO. But Bandito, I've almost always said it because of the bandana aspect of it. It does seem like the easiest to pull off.
Yeah.
And it was sold really well. I thought I dug everything about it. I want to get your thoughts though before we head home.
Yeah, so obviously I agree with both of you guys on a lot of the convo in regards to MJF. I feel like he's clicking on all cylinders. He's at the peak of his game that we've seen a couple years ago. He's doing everything wonderful, and it's a test to him, right? You were able to win that match, but you were also able to make your competitor look like he won as well. And I kind of want to cover that base because I think Bandito deserves a lot of credit last night. He is somebody that Tony Khan has done a tremendous job of detailing everything that he is as a competitor, putting him in very different situations, tag team, wrestling in ROH, now going into a main title picture. And he's kind of passed with flying colors, and he has built such a strong like favor to the fans. And as you know, MJF is our favorite scumbag, but people like to cheer for him. And he had people cheering against him last night and wanting to see Bandito win. And honestly, I don't think it was going to happen. But if he won last night, would you be surprised? Would you be shocked? This is somebody that you mentioned is wrestler of the year to a lot of people. And that doesn't happen overnight. That's something that he's kind of really built from the beginning to where we are now, especially last year. And I just think that the AEW men's division is just insane. It's absolutely insane because we talk about all the people from that segment that are gunning for his title. Yeah, there is a Brody King that he's a tag team partner with. And yes, Brody King is also someone that you could sell me him beating Max for the belt as well. So to me, I feel like this is the strongest I've ever seen the AEW roster being in my entire life. Like from where we are in 2020 to where we are in 2026, Tony Khan has built himself a freaking like dream team. Like it is a incredibly stacked roster on both sides. And we talked about the free agency prior to it, but like he's even adding more to it and on the ladies' side. And just to me, man, like it's one of those things where every match on a Dynamite and on a Collision this Saturday too is damn near must watch. Like
I'm with you.
You don't. That's the one thing I'll say before we go. There isn't going to be a lot of stale episodes of Dynamite this year because everything feels fresh because that roster is so talented and matchups are so fruitful over there.
100%, dude. And I'm so with you. Like the other day, I watched The Emperor's New Groove. Just an absolute classic, by the way. It feels like Tony Khan got his groove back in a weird way, right? I don't want to make it an early call or anything, but as far as heading into 2026 and the foreseeable future, it feels like Tony Khan got his groove back between the signings, between the booking, and all of that we've seen over the last few months. When the going got a little tough, they weathered the storm, and we watched it happen. Right?
I want to see Tony Khan win Booker of the Year where all the competition is on their A games too, because I want him to show you that we don't like you because the other guys aren't doing good. I want them to do really good because I think WWE is really good this year so far. With a lot of the call-ups and stuff that they're doing, it's very entertaining. I want Tony to be like, I'm gonna outdo y'all. I want you to be at your A game. I want you to get these record gates and all of that and viewership. But I'm gonna outdo y'all on a product standpoint, and I think he can.
What I like about it the most too is it actually feels like there's another conversation again where you can always go to the financial side of it where you're like, well, wait a minute, WWE, right? They're the you can always do that. That's the low-hanging fruit, right? But it feels like the classic, like when you're heading into the Grammys and you have the big major label artist against the more independent, but still decently well-funded artists. They have different fan bases going against each other. The comparison's there. It feels like that again. And that's when, right? Yeah, you can always talk about resources. Yeah, of course. You can't out-resource the WWE. There's TKO, you just can't these days.
Right.
As great as the cons are, and as much as they've shot a money cannon through the professional wrestling industry. I think it's people forget that all the time. They shot a money cannon.
They got more money than TNA.
They're 7 years old.
To sign
7 years old.
They're 7 years old. Yeah.
It's fascinating. Like it blows my mind. I was there for that first Dynamite, bro.
It's crazy. And it feels like yesterday.
And what it's grown to, man, is so impressive, bro. Like he's like, I swear to you, man, I feel people try to really knock him off his pivot and they really want him to collapse and trying to make him like become mentally fragile. He's not mentally fragile, dog.
No.
That boy cold-blooded. Tony Khan's cold-blooded. This is fun for him.
That's what I've never understood, Shadi, is like, okay, they're the underdog, but people act like when it comes to like tribalism and whatnot in wrestling, people act like they're the favorites. It's like, no, that's not the case at all. But I will say we could talk about this again. It's another topic we could talk about the rest of the day, but we do actually have to end the show here. We're out of time, my friends.
Sorry, Ben.
No worries. Thank you everybody that tuned in. Though we really appreciate it. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Of course, that's noon Pacific, 3:00 over on the East Coast, 8:00 in the UK, and 9 a.m. for my good friends in Hawaii. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Enjoy the TNA debut episode on AMC. We'll talk about that tomorrow. In 3 weeks, we won't talk about it anymore, though. So enjoy it while it lasts, and have a great rest of your evening. On behalf of me, Shad, and Davis, we will talk to you soon. Whatever.